Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. In this video, we will be looking at what you have going on for December 2025. Also, I don't normally do this, but I felt drawn to using two specific oracle card decks that relate more to romance and romantic relationships. So I'll have your normal reading, but then at the end, I will talk about what your love life has in store for you. More specifically, though, if you're already in a relationship, and so if you already have a partner or partners. If you're single, you could still listen to the messages and see if anything applies to you, but it's again mainly going to be messages for people who are already in a relationship or maybe you're in a situationship, but yeah, that's the tea. Here is stack 1A, stack 2B, stack 3C, stack 4D. You can pause if you'd like and if you need some more time to figure out which stack you're most drawn to. If you're not drawn to any of the stacks, that's completely fine. This just might not be the pick a card reading video for you, but I have plenty of other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And if you're listening to this and it's not even December, but you still feel drawn to any of the decks, you can certainly still listen. As always, if you feel drawn to more than one stack, you can listen to different readings. It doesn't have to be just one. As a reminder, everything I talk about and discuss in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Alright, let's get into it. Hello 1A and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards pulled here are Nine of Swords upright, the World in reverse, the Emperor upright, King of Cups upright, Knight of Cups in reverse, and the Fool in reverse. And the Oracle card is the road is clear. You know what to do, walk it your way. And then later on, before we end your reading, I have two oracle cards that pertain to your romantic life. Specifically, it only relates to you if you are in a romantic relationship, so stay tuned for that. Normally I don't do that for these kinds of videos, having like a romantic life update segment, but I did feel like doing that for this, for all the groups here. So, I'll get to that later. But I will say that for you, if you've chosen this stack, it does feel like seriously, what the road is clear. It makes me think of the High School Musical song of Vanessa Hudgens in it. She's like, I gotta go my own way. And then Troy's like, what about us? What about everything we've been through? And she's like, what about trust? And he's like, I never wanted to hurt you. And she's like, well, what about me? He's like, well, what am I supposed to do? uh, it very much reminds me of that. That song. Uh, so this could involve that a main theme for your December of 2025 is the ending of a romantic relationship. But if not, I see this being the ending of any sort of relationship in general. I see that with the Nine of Swords upright, this is something that I think for at least a little while you felt something has been off. Your relationship with this person, again, doesn't have to be just romantic, so think about any relationship in your life. Can involve family as well. But something just doesn't feel right, and it could be because if the world is in reverse, it could be that you and this other person are long distance, and now it is December, so it's holiday season here in America at least. So with that going on, I wonder if there's going to be conflicts as opposed to, or I'm sorry, in relation to where people should travel for the holidays. And it's interesting because some of you, I don't even think you're actually, if you're in a romantic relationship with the Fool being reversed, I wonder if some of you haven't actually fully started dating this person yet. Like maybe you're still kind of talking, or maybe you've just been in that phase, that awkward phase for a while where you've been dating, but you're not actually official. And so I love how the Fool in reverse is mirroring the Emperor upright because Spirit is saying that you need to, seriously need to go your own way. For a lot of you, for this relationship, I'm hearing that you'll get your peace back and you'll get more energy back once you no longer talk with this person, the Emperor, and then after that was pulled the King of Cups. It seems like a lot of you are also a lot more emotionally mature in this situation. And it feels like the other person is more so that Knight of Cups in reverse energy, where they're not able to self-regulate. And so it's like you have to be the mother of this person or the father or parent figure of this person. You have to always be the one to resolve conflict as well. And so I see you having to do that for this month as well, having to resolve conflict. And you're the one that is the emperor. You're the one that takes action to try to resolve things so that you and the other person aren't just mad at each other or so there's no bad blood. And I feel like if that other person gets into arguments or fights with other people, you're probably the type of person to stick up for them as well in those kinds of situations. And it's weird because with the Fool being reversed, it's giving me the energy right now of the Seven of Swords, upright or in reverse. And that card is all about people lying to you, being deceitful and sneaky to you. So I'm getting that imagery paired with the Fool in reverse. So I wonder if this person that you need to cut out of your life or have better boundaries with, right? You can do whatever you want with your life. But this person who I feel like you should probably cut out of your life, it seems like they've never been actually all that kind to you, which is why I feel like a lot of you have felt like something's off. But if you really sit and think about it, I think it's been actually quite a while that they've treated you in an unkind way. And I think for some of you, it's just that the relationship is unbalanced. Again, like maybe you're doing more for the other person than they are for you, or you have to stick up for them. And it's like maybe they rely on you too much as well. There could be some codependency issues, and codependent issues can exist in all types of relationships. Okay. But with the Fool in reverse, it makes me think that Spirit is saying, and with the Emperor too, and it mirroring the Emperor, it's like you've always kind of been alone anyway. So even though this is something you'll have to hear from, wait, did I say hear? Heal? I don't know. Even though this is something you'll have to heal from moving forward, it does feel like Spirit is saying that I'm trying to find the words. Even though this is something you'll have to heal from, and maybe you'll spend less time with this person or cut them out completely, Spirit is saying that you've already been, like, you've already just been alone and you've already been independent in this. So since you've already probably felt that loneliness and since you've already felt like you can't trust this person, it's actually for your betterment, King of Cups upright, to cut this person out of your life. Again, I see you being happier, more lively. And so even though it will still be a process, that doesn't mean, like you hear about all the time people who are in really awful, like very toxic relationships. And that doesn't mean that they can't miss a person when they leave, but it's about what you do once you realize the situation and try to move forward and away from that kind of person situation. So Spirit doesn't want for you to fall back on the bad habit of relying on this person or being around this person too much, or especially seeking validation from this person. It seems like you'll realize this month how much validation you seek from this other person. And I think for a lot of you, you could hold a lot of shame because of if you realize how you're being treated because of this person, it'll make you feel like I should have known better. And here's the thing, I've talked about this before. When we hold shame, it's harder to get rid of bad habits or to cut people out because then we feel like we aren't worthy people. So I don't want for you to stoop to that level of thinking and like continue to be around this person because it just feels so draining and it feels so sad. On the other end, it's like I see on one end there's a rainstorm. Like I'm visualizing somebody like in an open field, there's a rainstorm, and then they simply just have to take a few steps to get to the other side where it's sunny. But there's no wall there. So you can go back to the other side as much as you want or for as long as you want. But why would you when the sunny side is right there? You can see the side where it's not raining and storming and like tornadoing. So I see that I see that kind of situation playing out. Uh, where you may cut ties with this person or have better boundaries, not see them as much, not talk to them as much, and then you'll want to reach out to them. They could also be the type of person who will reach out to you constantly, like, and I feel like they might act like, "Hey, nothing's wrong." So that might gaslight you into thinking, "Oh, okay, well, I guess everything's fine then." But spirit wants you to hold firm in yourself. They want for you to tap into your emotional stability, to not stoop to the emotional unavailability or just lack of emotion from this other, or emotional maturity is also what I want to say, from this other person. You need to be able to stay strong. And I don't know how long you've known this person, but with the world in reverse, no matter how long you've known them, I think again it will have an impact on you. But it feels like, yeah, I gotta go my own way. One person's going down one way and somebody's going the complete opposite way. It feels like that's what will need to happen here. And that will be the best result. So if you're breaking up with somebody, by the way, or anything similar to that, like a romantic relationship, and they're like, hey, let's still be friends. Don't do that. Okay. It seems like if you're going to cut ties, you should fully cut ties. Like, that doesn't mean every once in a while hanging out with this person or being around this person. This means fully cutting ties. And I just see moving forward, you spending more time, like, realizing who you are. Not who you are in terms of the group, who you are as an individual person, how you act, how you react, how you think. And I feel like I just see you being a lot more at peace. I see you this is weird. I'm seeing somebody running around a lot, so you could be running around a lot less. And that I think ties in with the fact that you probably do a lot for this other person, or maybe you have hung out with this person a lot. There's somebody you saw a lot. So I just see you having a lot more free time, and I see spirit saying to, like, use that free time to really tap into your own self, your own life, and think and ask the question, "What do I wanna do? What do I wanna do, like, alone?" I see you doing a lot more things alone. That could even be, like, say, if you celebrate Christmas. That could even indicate spending Christmas alone for some of you. Or ooh, that's a thing too. I think a lot of you, I'm hearing, like, forging your own traditions. So that's perfect for this season. Doing things yourself and, like, starting new traditions for yourself. And they are things that I think you shouldn't hold I think a lot of you hold a lot of pressure. You put a lot of pressure on things in your life to be a certain way. So Spirit is saying something you should realize for this month is how to release some of that pressure. So let's say you start a new tradition and then you feel like you need to do it every year, or else it's not a tradition. That isn't how it has to work. And if you don't like the word tradition, it's like, okay, call it just like a ritual that you do every year around a certain time of year. And let's say you don't do it the next year though, and you're like, well, that means that this isn't actually a tradition or ritual because I'm not doing it this year. It's like, that doesn't mean you can't do it next year. That doesn't mean you can't delay the process. So for a lot of you too, I see you thinking about timing and how timing isn't linear, healing isn't linear. And I see you taking things one step at a time, but also not like rushing into doing things. Just in general, it isn't just about healing. It's like, I don't see you, Spirit doesn't want for you to rush. They want for you to really figure out who you are, especially moving into this new year. They want for you to really figure out what goals you have. For some of you, I think you've not known what goals you've wanted to have, or you've just been so focused on other things that you don't really know what your goals should be, or maybe you've just lost sight of your goals. Maybe you have the same goals and visions for yourself, but you've just lost sight of how you've just maybe just have sorry, my cat's distracted me. Hi. Oh, hi. Maybe you've just lost sight. Sorry, I got distracted by my cat, but maybe you have just lost sight of these visions. Maybe they've never gone away. Maybe you think that maybe you're still working towards them, but Spirit wants for you to find the passion. With the King of Cups upright too, I think a lot of you, this is a time of a lot of creativity and turning your pain. And I love how it's mirrored by the Knight of Swords, because there's a lot of pain in the Knight of Swords. A lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of sadness. But then because that's mirrored by the King of Cups, Spirit saying you'll make it out of this on the other side by this time next year, or sometime next year. It's like this thing about turning over a new leaf. So by the time it's the next year, which is soon, obviously, then you can think throughout that year the progress you've made. But I see you really, with the Knight of Swords mirroring the King of Cups, utilizing that pain, turning that into art in some capacity. So for some of you, I don't even get the sense that this is in relation to career either. I get this is just more so a sense of something you do for yourself. Being creative in any way, it's good for you. Maybe even if it's something as simple as you like singing out loud at home, singing more out loud and being unashamed of that. I see you being a lot less fearful once you're able to detach yourself from this person that's draining you. I wonder if they're very judgmental of you or if people like you, so that's why you like hinder yourself a little bit. Like, let's say one time you started singing in the car with your friends and they started laughing at you and they're like, you're an awful singer. And you thought they were just joking around, but then they were like, they said it again when you started singing again later on. It's like, okay. Like, I just feel like you haven't been in a period of life where you've been having fun. Part of that is because of this person in your life, I think, where you just have, your light has been dimmed. So it's a time now, starting now and going into this next year, to really focus on what brings you happiness and what brings you creative joy, even if you're bad at it, and especially if you're bad at it, I will say. Think about the things you're bad at. Like, some people hate dancing because they're like, I'm bad at it. I encourage you, if that, like, for example, if you're that kind of person, go to a Zumba class, go to a beginner class, dance class. Focus on how it's fun, because you don't have to focus on trying to be the best so that you can be a backup dancer for Beyonce, right? So just focus on. Oh, sorry, had like a hair down my throat. I'm like, this has been bothering me. I need to get it out. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, focus on what makes you happy and what brings you joy. And find happiness in the things you're bad at. And you shouldn't go into doing things for this month with the mindset of I have to be the best. Just be like, will this make me fulfilled? Will this make me have fun? Will it make me happy? And focus on what you're doing like for yourself. Don't focus, I mean, you could go to like a dance class with other people. But really, this is a time of doing things for yourself and by yourself. And I hope that doesn't sound negative for some of y'all. It's really a good thing that I'm seeing here, because you'll gain happiness just being by yourself. You realize all you need is yourself for this kind of happiness that you seek, or any fun that you seek. You won't need it from external factors, and you won't need external validation. It's just about doing things for you. So if you're a dancer, go to a dance class. Also, some of you, and it's perfect because it's almost the new year, some of you, really with the world in reverse, you are feeling misguided or misdirected, like you just don't know which way to go. So now's the time to try a bunch of new things. But since the road is clear, Oracle card is here, I think Spirit is saying you already know and have an idea for the kind of things you should look into. But participate in things, but go into things with an open mind. Even if you're like, I feel like I would hate this. Spirit is saying you wouldn't know unless you try. And if you try, you still don't like it, you can maybe even try again. Maybe you'll like it the second time around. And I think that I just think that there's so many possibilities. I see somebody walking down a path, but there's so many like paths that stray from that path. And I'm seeing that all of those options are good options. And I see that ultimately whatever steps you take now will lead you ultimately to where you need to be. So don't worry about taking any missteps, about doing anything that you think isn't necessary. I just see things being fun and light, but only if you allow them to be. And I see you being more, if not this month, I think yeah, probably not this month, but it'll prepare you more, maybe a little bit, for the path you're meant to take moving forward. And you'll just gain a lot of clarity for this month, and over the continuous, like, 3, 4 months, especially after this month, you'll get more clarity as to what you're meant to do in this life in general. And you'll have a lot more clarity as well just from not being around this person that you need to cut out of your life. And it feels like it'll really just clear up that fog. And I think I'll go into the guidebook now. So let's go to, I think I just passed it. Okay. The road is clear. You know what to do, walk it your way. You've been working toward this moment for a while now. Stone by stone, carefully paving the road before you. It's time now to walk it, to journey ahead without wavering. You know what to do, and you know how to do it. The road ahead of you is clear, and success is on the horizon. Be bold and truly go for it. Expansion and ease are here. You're ready to do what you came here to do. Remember, you've been working toward this moment for years, decades, or even lifetimes. If you asked a question, the answer is yes. If you're querying whether you're ready for something or if the time is right, the answer is yes. If you're wondering if you have what it takes, the answer is yes, yes, yes. Enjoy the next phase of your journey. You've earned this moment, this flow, this prosperity, this progress. You're going to make it look easy, but it's likely this is the result of years of being devoted to your path. As you walk it now, remember to walk it your way. Own your path because there's no one who can walk it quite like you. Ancient Stones activation. I'm ready to walk my unique path in a way that only I can. That's something you can repeat to yourself as well. That's the thing. You are on your own unique path, and you're paving the way, I feel like, for other people to realize their own paths as well. Is the way this comes across. Like, people, I just feel like you'll inspire people to also do what's best for them. And so I think being on this journey into this next year, being more to yourself, focused on your own journey, that will be very beneficial for you to understand what it is you need to do on your path to take this next step. And clearing out blockages like any negative relationships will help you to move forward and to tap into the abundant energy of the future that spirit just laid out for you in that card and the card's meaning. Okay, I think I'll leave that there and I'll go to the other part of this reading for you. So, you can end the video here if you are not in a romantic relationship. Other than that, though, I will go into now the 2 cards that represent the energy for this month for a romantic relationship. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's this part of the romantic relationship, or what? The romantic relationship part of your reading. Here it is. So we have here divorce, experiencing a breakup, and you deserve love. You are lovable. So this, like, the energy I was talking about before, the messages I had for you before, I already had those messages that were coming through for you, but then the oracle cards just solidify that a lot of you need to realize that if this person you need to cut out of your life is a romantic partner of some kind, that you need to probably sever ties with them, like break up with them. They may even do that with you. But also, Spirit is saying you deserve love and that you are lovable. And they're saying that because with this dimming of the light that I was seeing with your stack, Spirit is saying you deserve love. You don't need to make yourself small in order to be loved, in order to receive love. You make yourself small when you give love, and you don't need to keep doing that anymore. Now it's a time to focus on making yourself feel loved, to feel happy, and to feel cherished. Uh, if you aren't, if you are in a relationship but you don't experience a breakup for this month, it could mean that just something happens this month and that it will lay down the, what is it, the framework for a future separation. But ultimately, it feels like even if you don't separate, something will happen that will really make you understand the dynamics of the relationship in terms of you being viewed probably as less than this person, which I don't love that energy. But it just doesn't feel good. You shouldn't have to dim your light anymore. Spirit's saying to step out. And you deserve love also from people outside of this romantic relationship. You deserve love in all forms. I wonder if this person has, in a way, maybe made you not talk as much to family or friends because they've wanted you all to themselves. And so Spirit is saying you shouldn't be in a romantic relationship where people make you talk less to their friends and family. 2:22 my time. Make a wish. Okay. And oh, 2, when I think of 2s, that's all about balance. So Spirit is saying there needs to be a balance throughout your life. Don't put so much of your effort and energy into a romantic relationship, but that also doesn't mean that you should ignore your romantic partner, obviously. So Spirit's saying you deserve love in a way that's balanced and in a way that you feel like you are an equal to your partner, not that you are less than. You should feel comfortable and safe with your partner. And Spirit is saying it is not love if those things are compromised in any way. So, ideally, in this situation, if you are in a romantic relationship, again, this is a group reading. So, for some of you, maybe this doesn't resonate. For some of you, it maybe does. And maybe this also just relates to that potential friendship or family member if you're still watching this. Maybe there's a divorce, like from your parents are getting a divorce, or maybe there's a divorce, like a separation of some kind of people around you. And maybe that just impacts your relationship in some way. And it makes you realize that you do deserve love. So if you don't break up, then you really need to lay out some boundaries and some, I guess, better quote unquote rules for the relationship so that you are not stepped on or walked all over, but so that instead you are respected, loved, and valued in your relationship. And then if you let that go on and the person still doesn't change their attitude or their behavior, then you know what to do from there, which is hopefully to not be around that person because you do deserve love and you are lovable. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Renee, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pickacard reading videos located all throughout my channel, and you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, Renee, and take care. Hello, Tubi, and welcome to your part of the pickacard reading video. The tarot cards here are the Hermit upright, 10 of Cups upright, 6 of Pentacles upright, 8 of Cups upright, 2 of Wands in reverse, the only reversal here, and then the 2 of Cups, wait, what did I say? 2 of Wands? Yeah, 2 of Wands in reverse, and then the 2 of Cups upright. And the Oracle card is Energy Rising, Vitality, Confidence, Power, Decisiveness, and I will get to the guidebook for that later on. Also, toward the end of this reading, I have a couple of oracle cards that are representative of the energy for this month if you are in a romantic relationship. So you can listen to that later on if you are in a romantic relationship. Just provide some clarity. And then, yeah, let's just get into this though. There's a lot of energies coming through. I'm not surprised that we have the 10 of Cups here. So it feels like, but it's interesting we have that with the Hermit. Even though this is a time where it's holiday season, right? So a lot of us get together with family. Even if not, if you're listening to this somewhere else and you don't celebrate holidays around this time, I still feel like this is a time of really getting together with family. Of real, like, and I'm talking about, it could be chosen family, but for a lot of you, I think this is more so blood related, but take what resonates. This is a time of really getting together with whoever you call family and really strengthening your bonds together. And with the 6 of Pentacles upright, I see that this would be just a time of like giving and receiving information is the best way described, where you'll be updated on people's lives and you'll also provide updates to other people about your life. It seems like it's an equal give and take relationship that you'll have with people for this month, and it feels like it's going to be a very informative month. With the Hermit upright too, that shows that it's going to be a very reflective month. So I think there's a lot of information that you will have to process. I don't see it being bad in any way, or at least maybe at first things will seem weird or bad in some way. But I see that with information that you receive from other people, that you'll just be very reflective and it will help you make certain decisions you have to make moving forward or before the new year. What is it? It reminds me of like, say somebody tells you that, let's say you have a sibling and nobody has children yet, and then the sibling is like, I'm pregnant. And you're like, oh, okay. And so then it kind of makes you reflective of, oh my God, I'm going to be an aunt or an uncle to this child. I don't know what that's going to be like. This is the first time I'll be an aunt or an uncle. And so it gives very much the energy of that, where it doesn't seem like the information you'll receive will necessarily be bad. For some of you, maybe things will be shocking. Like, it could also be that you find out, like, let's say you go back to your hometown for the holidays, and then people are talking about how your ex-partner is now engaged. So it's like, that isn't necessarily a bad thing that they're engaged, unless you're still completely in love with them, but, hopefully not. But with the Hermit, it's about being reflective. It's like, how do I feel about that? I see you being very open with yourself about asking yourself how you feel about different things going on. Even if it means taking a step back from social situations and just being like, hey, how do I feel in this moment? And it reminds me of therapists, they're like, and how does that make you feel? But seriously, I see you saying that to yourself during this point in time, and I see you also saying that to other people as well who need to hear that specifically, because maybe people aren't aware of their own feelings. So I see you being like let's say the ex-partner thing applies to your sibling, and then you're talking about that and you're like, "Well, how does that make you feel?" And people might try to skirt around that kind of question. It's like, "No, but seriously, how do you feel? You say you're fine, like it was a long time ago, but that doesn't mean you can't feel a certain way about it." So it feels like you're very introspective and you're very also observant of this point in time. It feels like you're just very aware of your surroundings and you're aware of the dynamics between other people and you and other people just with other people. It's like it reminds me of people who do people watching. It seems like you'll do a lot more people watching for this month so that you're aware of dynamics that are going on in the words that are being said, people's body language. I think you'll be very hyper aware of people's body language. And the 6 of Pentacles also is about giving. So it could be that you do charity work or that you do a lot of giving. 'Tis the season, right? And I'm not just talking about gifts. I'm talking about this could be a month where you are feeling especially generous that you give, and I'm seeing this being more like financially or something that is similar. But I see you being able to give money to other people during this time. It reminds me of maybe people who are houseless, like giving them money and food, or going to your local food bank and helping out. I just see you doing something that could be very helpful. I think you're the type of person your energy to me appears very stoic. It appears very like it's almost like, it reminds me of Prince. I don't know too much about Prince as a musician, but what I do know is that, he was a performer, but then whenever you would see him like in the crowd or in audiences, like at award shows, he was always just so calm and he was just kind of there. And he wasn't somebody who always had much to say. So I don't know if you're somebody who typically has much to say or not, but it seems like you'll be hearing a lot from other people. Like you'll be a lot more in your listening phase for this month as opposed to talking because you are receiving a lot of information. So it seems like you'll be giving, but part of what you give is patience. And part of what you give to other people during this month will be silence so that other people can speak and shine. It's not necessarily a month of you shining in any way, but the energy still does feel very good. And I want to go back to the stoicism I was feeling. It feels like like again, you could say you're not typically like that, but for this month it feels like you will be a lot more calm. And the things you can control, you will control. And the things you can't control, I think you're learning to not try to control everything. With the Eight of Cups being here too, that makes me think that part of because Eight of Cups is about walking away from someone or something. I think part of what you're walking away from, for some of you, it's overworking yourself. or you could be walking away from, like, a job. With the 8 of Cups, it also makes me think that you're walking away from like, it may sound weird, but it's for some of you, I think you're walking away from control issues. 2 of Wands in reverse can also indicate, like, giving up control. So I think a lot of you are learning to just be in that accepting and receiving phase. So things that are outside of your control, even if things go wrong, I think that this will be a month of really learning and practicing what you preach is the way it comes across, but learning through experience how to self-regulate and how to be calm and to remain calm when things don't go your way. So yeah, I see you walking away from anything that drains you, obviously, but I also see you just walking away from control issues. I see you giving up the need to control things, and I see you, for some of you too, it seems like you could be very much fixers. You have that helpful energy with the Six of Coins being here. So it seems like part of you are walking away from trying to, and that is part of trying to fix things, that's control as well. So trying to control or fix others. Uh, now I'm getting the visuals. It reminds me of, like, at some people at certain churches, they dress up a certain way, but let's say that you go to a church for Christmas, but then your child doesn't want to dress up, and they keep saying they don't want to, like, dress up all super fancy for church, but then you still go anyway, and you're just like, "Whatever, I'm gonna let them wear what they want to wear so that they can at least feel comfortable while they go." So I feel like a lot of you will also realize in areas where you've been stubborn, like, even though you feel like very helpful, loving people, I think some of you fail to realize why other people do the things they do, so that's why it's like you're asking the why, and how do you feel about that kinds of questions. It's like, your child doesn't wanna dress up for church. And instead of just getting angry, you can be like, "Well, why don't you want to?" Even if you don't ask them, just think about inside, it's like, "Well, why I wonder why my child wouldn't want to." And it's like, "Well, probably because children don't feel comfortable in that kind of clothing, and it puts too much pressure on them to act, and look a certain way when they're in that sort of institution or location." And it's like, "Oh, that makes sense," you know? So, it's a really time of, and that's mirrored by the Hermit. So it's time to let go of judgments that you hold against others, and it's time to be more open-minded and less stubborn, and to be more considerate of other people in certain aspects. I feel like you're a very considerate person, but I think, I'm a vegan, so it reminds me of people like my dad who all like would always kind of make comments about that and still try to get me to eat food that wasn't vegan. It's like, even if the intentions aren't bad, I think some of you maybe do certain things that you don't realize have a certain impact on people. So part of the reflectiveness of this month, yeah, is to give up on not only fixing but changing people. And also thinking that, I think a lot of you think that you are always right, that you always have the correct answers, yeah, you're the one in the right. You're the one who's got it all, people should listen to you, but it does not I do wanna say this, for those of you who that resonates, it doesn't come across as bad at all. Again, it does not come across as ill-intentioned at all, because sometimes with these kinds of readings it can, but I really have to oh my god, why do I feel like crying? Oh, what's going on here? Ooh, you know what I'm thinking about too is I think a lot of you are so giving and caring of other people, so it's like, I think part of this Eight of Cups energy is that you maybe are trying too hard to be like a helpful person. And Spirit is saying you already do so much for people. The Hermit is here. It's saying take a break, give yourself a break. Two of Wands members. You don't always have to focus on being there for other people all the time. That doesn't mean you can't be. Like, if you have the energy and you want to be there for people, or if something's going on, you still can. But don't overexert your energy. Don't. A key word for you all is that you overcompensate, I think. And how do I want to explain this? It's like you overcompensate with how much you want to help people. And you feel like you're a bad person if you don't do the most. Spirit is like, you don't always have to do the most. It's okay. It's okay. Walk away from trying to fix every little thing. Because also, Spirit is saying that if you always are trying to help other people, like, too much, then people won't know how to help themselves, or people won't know how to defend themselves. Okay. So Spirit is saying that if you also want for people to learn and grow themselves, you have to allow them to also make mistakes and live their own lives. You don't always have to be the person who's fixing everything, who's making things right. It's okay for things to not be all right for a bit, for you or for other people, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it necessarily will last forever. Maybe it will, such as like it reminds me of the passing of a loved one. Like that kind of stuff lasts forever. Grieving can last forever. But so I think for the things we can't control in that instance, it's like you just gotta let go a little bit. So I think this will be a good month for practicing those things. I think the way this reading comes across is that you've already learned some of the skills needed to kind of let go a bit, and maybe you've already done bits and pieces of it, but this is really going to be a month where it tests you in a way. And so I see you being stoic. So maybe a lot of you aren't necessarily stoic typically, but I see that stoicism here, the peacefulness and just like going with the flow. I see you just like meditating there in an open field or a meadow. And I see like some things going on around you and you might get distracted. I think you'll be tempted to help people in certain instances for this month or act a certain way or just yeah, give so much of your energy to try to like resolve an instance. I think a lot of you too don't like when conflict arises, so you feel the need to jump on conflict as soon as it starts or even before it fully starts. It's like, well, we're going to fix this right now. For some of you for this month, instead of doing that, I think you should allow for conflict to happen so that you can see what actually needs to be changed. Because change can't happen if people aren't fully communicating. It doesn't come across that you don't like to communicate as much as it is that it's just, I think you don't want for people, yourself included, to be hurt or to feel left out, whatever it is. But Spirit is saying you have to not be hyper vigilant around that. So I think some of you do need to work on your communication as well. Again, your energy comes across very loving and kind. It's just the overexertion of your energy. So allow people to make mistakes. You don't always have to also correct people or just fix people's situations. People have to learn to do these things for themselves as well. And I think too, you may help other people in their lives because of something going on in your life. Where, like, instead of focusing on your own issues, oh, yeah. Instead of focusing on your own issues, maybe it's easier for you to focus on the issues of others. A lot of people fall into that trap. So I see for this month, that will really test you. If there's any issues you have going on, this is a month for confronting them and confronting specifically how you feel. Okay? How you emotionally feel. We have 3 cups cards here. So that's all about feelings and emotions, sentiments. So Spirit is saying it's time to finally look at your feelings and actually feel them. Actually, I'll say this, not just to look at them, but to feel them. You could be like, yeah, I feel this way, but then leave it at that. And Spirit's like, no, you have to dive deeper. How do you actually feel? And some of you too, I think you'll be brought back to childhood in a way where maybe you also run into an old childhood friend. That could be indicative here. Some of you will run into people from your childhood or from when you were younger. But it also, oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was on it. What was I gonna say? Okay, so anything from your past though, it just feels like there's something maybe that needs to be healed there. Like you'll realize that you have a trigger from your childhood or from when you were younger, and you will realize this month where specifically that stems from. Because you hear about that too, especially people with bad memories because of having bad childhoods, where it's like, I I know people like that where they don't remember anything from childhood, but they have certain action or certain reactions to things, and it's like they don't know why. Um, so I think for this month, you'll realize something that's been suppressed that you didn't realize that's the way you act or think the way you do. Things will become a lot more clear. And so then you'll be able to work on that and hopefully move forward and not have something be a trigger for you anymore, or at least not in the way it used to be. There really just is this sense of peace. Like, even though it's, almost a new year, When you think about the new year, you think of energy of people being excited. I just feel the energy of you being very grateful. I think for you all, you'll feel a lot of gratitude for this month as well. And you'll feel a lot of peace with yourself. I just feel like with yourself and your relationships, you'll feel very safe with the people around you. And I did want to say before I go into the guidebook for the oracle card that the Two of Cups being here, it makes so I don't remember if I said this yet, but yeah, just connections with family, people in general. If you have a romantic partner, it's a good time to connect with them for this month. And I see that for the Two of Cups being here and the Six of Pentacles and Ten of Cups, like those three specifically being together, I wonder if you'll be able to meet a significant other's family or you'll just be able to see them again. Like, you know how people do that? They see one family for one holiday, another family for another. And I could see you doing that. You could meet them for the first time or just grow closer. And so I see that there will be some sort of bond with other family members, like the family members of people who you are friends with or who is the family of your romantic partner. I see you getting closer with them or finding more similarities, commonalities, and finding things to talk about and growing closer with them as well. But I do see you getting along with people very greatly this month. I just see you being very at peace and go with the flow. And it's actually interesting the energy that this reading gives me. Oh wait, I don't remember. Is the Hermit Virgo? Because I was gonna say the energy of this reading is very much Virgo energy, but it feels like you'll be tapped into more of the opposite end of that, Pisces energy, where instead of trying to do so much at once and be a helpful person, you'll be in the energy of the flow state. That's what the Pisces is meant to do, is meant to be in that flow state of going with the flow. Okay, I will go into the guidebook now. Okay, energy rising, vitality, confidence, power, decisiveness. The sun is a symbol of life force, power, and vitality, and this is a card with positive, confident, decisive energy. It invites these qualities to rise within you and brings a message of clarity, decisiveness, and forward movement. Is there a decision you're looking to make? How are you being called to step forth with confidence? Stonehenge, a famous prehistoric stone circle in the UK, is exquisitely aligned with the majestic dance of the sun on the solstices. And if you see the card, it does have Stonehenge on there. The heel stone, a solitary stone of significance, is a marker of the sacred celestial movement. If you stand at the heart of Stonehenge at sunrise on the summer solstice, you'll see the sun ascend precisely above the heel stone, a sight that never fails to fill the heart with awe, vitality, confidence, and power. Beyond making the longest and shortest days, Stonehenge serves as a stone tapestry of the solar year. It's possible that it was aligned with certain phases of the moon and perhaps even with the rare and mystical eclipses, a testament to the profound understanding of the heavens possessed by our ancient ancestors. Have you been considering whether to move forward or go ahead with a plan? It could be taking a trip, starting a business, going on a date, giving a new relationship a go, changing jobs, trying something new, or putting yourself out there in some other way. Whatever direction you're being called in, this is the card of decision and stepping forth with confidence. It's time when you're ready. Call in the energy of the sun and the stones and try something new today. Soul inquiry. If you were feeling vital and confident, what would you do? And that's actually beautiful that that card was here. But I do want to emphasize that the confidence that I'm feeling from you is very much a personal confidence and more of a quiet confidence. I think you don't have to say how confident you are in order to be confident. And for people to understand that you are a confident person is the way that this comes across. So for some of you, part of the reason why you are so reflective during this time, this Two of Wands too, it can indicate being indecisive about something. So it could be a time where you do finally get clarity about a certain situation, and that's why you're so introspective during this time. And that if not by this month, then by probably next month, you will have clarity about what you should do for this decision. But because you're somebody who leads from the heart, I will say to continue to lead from the heart in whatever decisions you decide to make going forward and with confidence and vitality, I think that could also just apply too because it feels like as you're reserving your energy now going into the new year, that soon you'll have so much energy, it's almost like you'll explode. You're reserving your energy now. You don't need to do the most now. Figuring things out mentally and like by yourself right now will help you moving forward to know the right steps to take and to have the confidence that you need in whatever decisions you make. Beautiful. So I will leave that there for this part, but I do have, for those of you who are in a romantic relationship, if you would like to hear that part of the reading for this month, you can listen to that now. Thank you otherwise, though, for the other people who don't have a romantic partner for listening to this video. Okay, so if you are in a romantic relationship, here are the cards here. So you can see we have challenges, make a decision. Ooh, decision. This relates to, I think, decisiveness from the other oracle cards. So challenges, make a decision, work on inner healing. Yes. And religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. And I think too, it isn't just religious factors. It seems like a lot of you could fall into the trap of, I was getting this during the reading too, but I didn't say it. Like during the other part of the reading for you all, but it seems like a lot of you could deal with conformity, and a lot of times conformity and gender norms fall in line with religious stuff. So I was getting that, I just didn't say it earlier, but I'm saying it now. So it seems like a lot of you maybe I wonder if some of you would only this is hard to articulate. I wonder if some of you would only want to date somebody who is on the same religious or spiritual level as you. And so if people aren't like that, or if people are atheist even, so a different religion or spiritual path than you, or atheist, I feel like you could struggle with that in your relationship. So obviously if you are still listening, you are in a relationship. So think about the ways in which that impacts you. For some of you, it's actually probably your other romantic partner who is more like religious. And if it's not religion at play here, then really think about gender norms. Think about societal norms and how they relate to each of you individually and as a couple. So with challenges, make a decision. It makes me think that some of you have things you need to work on as it relates to religious influences from your past or even your present. Some people get more religious or spiritual or faithful later in life. So it appears that there's something as it relates to religion, though, that you need to work through. And I think if you're in a relationship with somebody who is not as compatible with you in terms of religion, then you need to think of what you are willing to accept and what you are willing to not accept. So now's the time to make a decision of, well, before the relationship continues on any further, is this something that is going to be a deal breaker for me? Because if it is, then you should probably look at ending things now as opposed to prolonging it. Because you remember, this relates to the other part of the reading for you as well. You cannot change people, even if you have good intentions. I think a lot of people, like, I'm thinking of Alyssa Grenfell, her videos, she's a Mormon, and she talked about, she's like she comes from a very long line of Mormons, generationally speaking, and she talks about how, like, she didn't realize basically what she was doing was wrong. She thought she was literally trying to help save people from, like, eternal damnation or from not being accepted into any of the kingdoms and of the afterlife. It very much makes me think of that, where I think a lot of you you have good intentions, but you cannot change people. You cannot control people or fix people. Everybody's allowed to be their own person, so you have to think about, okay, if this is something then I shouldn't or can't change, is it something then that I am willing to accept? And for some of you, with religious factors being here, I wonder if some of you struggle not because you are incompatible with your partner as it relates to religion or spirituality, but more so your family or the other person's family, or maybe both of your families, don't like the other person or one of the other people. Like, let's say your partner, their family doesn't like you because you're, like, a very witchy person. Let's say that they don't like that. That could be at play here too. That could be part of what those challenges are. So then you have to make a decision, like, is it okay for me to still be with my partner even if their family doesn't like me? I personally would be like, well, whatever, it's my relationship. I'm not dating their family, but you have to work on what works best for you. And the introspectiveness of this month still translates to your love life. Okay, I will leave it at that though. Well, yeah, just yeah, any challenges that arise, it looks like there will be challenges as it relates to religion or spirituality. Just something to keep in mind. And I think both of you should have an open mind as it relates to this and try to see the other person's point of view. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much to B for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. They'll be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 2B, and take care. Hello, 3C, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. We have here the Four of Swords in reverse, Four of Pentacles in reverse, Judgment in reverse, the Tower in reverse, Seven of Coins or Seven of Pentacles in reverse, and the Three of Swords in reverse. And so if you notice, all the cards are in reverse. And then we have, for the Oracle card, Alignment. It's coming together, precision. I will read from the guidebook later on for that. But we do have, what is it, Metatron's Cube? Is that what that is? Anyway, on the card. And then later on, if you are in a romantic relationship, there is a part of this reading that you can get at the end that I will talk about. For right now, though, let's get into the energy of your December 2025. So I don't want for you to feel a certain type of negative way about these cards all being in reverse. That actually isn't a bad thing I'm getting. So I'm really glad too that the first card pulled was the Four of Swords in reverse, because really the main message for you for this month is that I think for a lot of you, you'll feel like this month is stagnant and you'll feel like there's no progress. You'll maybe feel just like there's not much happening. But Spirit is saying that with this alignment card here, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Even with the Tower card in reverse, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And by behind the scenes, I mean like in the spiritual world, mainly. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, as well as just in your physical life. There's a lot of things going on that you aren't aware of the hidden meaning or what the end results will be. I don't know how to best describe that. It reminds me, here's an example. It reminds me of like if you were applying for a job and you had a couple of interviews recently and you just aren't hearing back from people. That doesn't mean you won't hear back from people necessarily. Or it could mean that you maybe aren't going to hear back and so you just need to go elsewhere. But with the Tower in reverse, this also indicates, yeah, things happening outside of your control. I see a lot of life happening, is the best way I can describe it. There's a lot of life happening, you just have to be there to witness it. So Spirit is saying to hang on tight for the ride. But for some of you, it's more so that any stagnancy you feel, there won't be much going on. But I think that if there's not much going on now, in the future there will be much to happen, especially with the alignment being here. I love that that card is here. Because everything is coming together. Everything is working out, even if things seem a little lackluster right now or slow moving. I think some of you are uncomfortable with not filling up. I wonder if some of you are very uncomfortable with filling up your time with, like, nothingness is the best way I can describe it. Like, I think a lot of you like to be very productive and you like to get a lot of things done. And so Spirit is saying that for this month, you really need to focus on Four of Swords, the first card, the last card, Three of Swords, both in reverse. You need to focus on spending time alone and on healing yourself. By the way, you might find similarities if you're drawn to stack 2 as well. So if you feel drawn to that stack, you might want to check that out if you haven't already. But there's a sense that you have already put in a lot of work. You've already put in effort, and Spirit wants to say, hey, we recognize your efforts. We recognize that you've been trying and that you've been putting effort toward these different things in life. So just because things seem a certain way now, Spirit is saying that it doesn't have to be for a lot of you this way forever. So December is really going to be a month of it's just going to be basically a waiting period for you. You'll have to wait and you have to pause. I see things being put on pause. You'll have to, oh my God, I just realized because right before I started this stack, I was like getting things situated. So I didn't, like, I knew my cat was sitting next to me, but I have my blanket on me and he's to the right of me and he's sleeping on the part of the blanket that is like perfectly shaped for him. Oh my God, love that. Oh my God, I think that ties in with y'all as well, though. Alignment again. There will be room for you in certain things in your future. Is I know that may sound kind of funky, but like if you are, let's say you went to nursing program, you went to a school, a nursing school, and you're trying to find the best place to be a nurse, but like people are not accepting you. And then Spirit is saying then to just be open. That's the thing as well. You have to be open to receiving. Judgment in reverse. I think there's a lot of ways in which you've judged others as well as you have preemptively judged or holded prejudice toward other like institutions or like situations. I think this is a month of really realizing where you've been too judgmental. Maybe a lot of you just are kind of like that at your core. You're very judgmental people of others. That doesn't mean that you aren't right in many things for having certain judgments, but I think you're easy to have snap judgments because of your past experiences. So Spirit is saying instead to focus this month on finding peace within yourself and within your relationships with others rather than finding ways to hold judgment for other people. I love how that's mirrored by the Three of Swords in reverse too, because it's a time of healing yourself. So I think a lot of this judgment that you have for other people is because of the judgment you've held toward yourself or that you've directed at yourself. But you know, a lot of times when we can get angry at people, it's because we're triggered and we have our own issues. We don't even realize how things are connected until we really do the work. So it's a month of connecting the pieces together of realizing where you get triggered, but also realizing where you are at fault in situations in your life. I think there's situations that have happened in your life where you have done something wrong, but you have not fully apologized to people. For some of you, maybe this is a month of actually apologizing to people face to face or like through a text or a letter. For some of you, it's about forgiving yourself for how you were in that situation, like speaking out to the universe, I apologize, and like with sincerity, saying you apologize for a certain situation that you did in the past that caused ill intent for somebody else or that caused somebody else's life to be at risk. I don't know. Um, but any judgment that you've held toward other people, look at how that reflects upon you. It's a time of reflection about how you judge others and therefore how you judge yourself. What parts of yourself do you not like or love? What parts of yourself do you find unadmirable, unlikable, or unlovable? Spirit is saying that now is the time to really look at those things and work on healing them, working through them, realizing where these issues come from. And then with the Three of Swords in reverse, saying you need to work on healing these things. They shouldn't be things that impact you moving forward. A lot of you, I think, could also have anger issues of some kind, or you just very easily get upset by things. It could even be that you easily cry, you know. In that kind of situation, Spirit is saying that if you're like that, if you get overly emotional or overly angry very quickly, then Spirit wants for you to work on finding ways to better self-soothe. I'm seeing for some of you also that you should exercise more. I'm seeing that spirit is showing me that this is a good way to relieve stress and anger and pent up emotions. So for some of you too, even though it's a time of quietness and stillness, I still see that being contributed. I haven't said that specifically yet, but I do see this being a month of quietness and stillness. So if people in your inner circles are like, "Hey, whatever happened to them? Like, why aren't they coming to the party? I thought they were coming." This is a time where spirit wants you to focus more on yourself. So I don't see you having much energy or room for being around other people much right now unless it's absolutely necessary, because I see this being a time of a lot of you not being in the best emotional state, but I see this not lasting forever. I just see you needing to work through things and that it will be hard, it will be difficult, but spirit is saying that once this is done, you'll clear out some of that stagnancy, and so then things will fall more into alignment. And that will be in all areas of your life, your relationships, your work or career, your finances, your home, um, yeah, romantic life, family life, like if you have children, pets, any of that. I just see things. Oh, okay. I think Spirit is now sending me the message that if things lately seem to have been going wrong, like let's say one day your car breaks down, the next day, like a fire gets started in your apartment building, everybody has to evacuate, like, and then the day after that, your dog or your cat goes missing. I see it there being a lot of synchronous events that are very, it seems like they're in bad timing, but ultimately things like that happening are always in bad timing. But I see a lot of events happening in your life recently where Spears, part of the reason why these things are happening, I'm not saying if bad things happen that it's like, oh, it's your fault, okay? Because that sucks. But I think part of what we need to do in the situation is that Spirit is trying to get you to like almost wake up. Even though this is a time of peace, there's also this sense of stagnancy in terms of, yeah, Spirit just really wants you to focus on how you react to situations and how you deal with situations. I think you could have very bad coping mechanisms. That's a big thing you need to heal and work on for this month, is to work on your bad habits and work on bad coping mechanisms. So let's say when you get stressed out, you eat a pint of ice cream every time. And let's say you get stressed out, like during a couple of weeks straight, you just have a pint of ice cream every night. That's not necessarily the best health decision. And so I think a lot of you do things though that you don't realize are bad for your health, or you realize we don't look into it further. Stuff like that, or even your sleep. I think a lot of you have been neglecting self-care. So this is a month to really work on catching up on sleep, practicing self-care like skincare routines, exercising, eating healthy, and that doesn't mean restricting yourself either, right? Because that's also unhealthy. But it's about things being balanced. I just feel like in your life, at least recently, it seems like there's been a lot of extremes, a lot of highs and lows. And it seems like for this month, it'll be more that in order to return to a state of normalcy, part of that is really evaluating how you are. Just in general, point blank, period. Judgment in reverse. How do you interact with others? Notice it. Keep track of how you interact with people. Notice when other people get mad at you, or when you get mad at other people. Is there deeper meaning behind that? It feels like for a lot of you it would be. And I think with the Tower in reverse too, it's like Spirit is also saying if you don't give yourself breaks, a lot of you have been overworking yourself, doing way too much. If you don't give yourself a break during this month, or like rest, better sleep, if you don't care for yourself this month, Spirit will make you care for yourself. The way this comes across is like, for example, the Tower being reversed here. In this situation I'm talking about, you could get sick and then you'll be out of work for like 2 weeks. So Spirit is like, if you want to prevent that kind of stuff from happening, try to take better breaks now. Or if it doesn't happen this month, in the future, it's like you could be out of work for a while. Or I don't want you to think this is like a threat. It kind of comes across as one, but I think Spirit is just like being so serious right now. They're like, if you don't focus on healing yourself now, if you don't give yourself breaks or rest, that will bite you. in the near future. And then it will force you into a break or a rest period that you don't even actually want to be in. Okay, so either way, whether it's like a forced break that happens or you take some rest break periods or self-care routines, you do all that more seriously, more consistently. I see that these break periods will be very important for you to recharge. Because a lot of you, I think, are also running on low battery right now. So Spirit is saying if you want more energy, if you want to recharge, you already know what you have to do. But you just don't do it because you feel like you're not worthy of taking breaks or that you can't take a break. So Spirit is saying to not think like that. Seven of Pentacles in reverse. For this month, you shouldn't think about the future so much. The Seven of Pentacles is in reverse, so that means it's about long-term planning, but the opposite of that. So Spirit wants for you to just live in the present and live day by day. A lot of you are not very grounded in general or recently. A lot of you have not worked on alleviating stress in your excuse me, stress in your life. It just feels like you've been adding stress to your life. So Spirit is saying for this month, you shouldn't focus on the upcoming year. You know what people think of like resolution? Spirit doesn't even really want you to think about that stuff. They just want you to focus on what you need every day. You wake up and you're like, okay, what do I need at this very moment? If there's anything I need to do for later in today, I can do that. Or if there's stuff that's coming up, like you need to schedule an appointment, you can do stuff like that. But just focus on the necessary things. Don't focus on doing too much. Don't focus on doing extra. Don't focus on also, it's a really bad month for traveling. Like, just don't focus on doing so much. You're supposed to alleviate those responsibilities and alleviate stress as much as you can for this month. Focus on spending more time alone. I've talked about that earlier. So not so much time with friends and family. Like maybe for the holidays, you're somebody who typically spends a lot of time with family and you notice that you feel very drained. So then Spirit is like, don't focus on, like, let's say if you spend a week back at home, maybe instead spend 2 or 3 days and be like, hey, I'm going to like head back. And even if you're with family too, have breaks. Don't only just be around family the whole time. I think a lot of you take on a lot of other people's energies as well. So that's a part of what you need to realize is part of the way you react to situations isn't from something in your childhood. It's because of how other people around you are. I think you're very much a sponge of people's energies. So if you've been around people at work who have been very anxious lately about money, and then you start becoming anxious about money. So then when other people talk about like, hey, let's go out to a restaurant, you're like, why would you do that? Why would you go to a restaurant right now? In this economy, stuff like that. And then your friend is like, okay. So I feel like you've been making a lot of snap judgments at people and a lot of quick remarks. So focus on slowing down and processing your emotions and your thoughts. And that includes before you speak back to somebody. If you feel yourself getting triggered, take a breath, take a pause, and dissect what the person was saying to you. And if it doesn't come from a place of them attacking you, then try not to attack other people back, okay? People are not always out to get you. So I think that's something important for you to dissect this month as well. I think you feel like the universe and other people are just out to get you and that things don't go your way. And so therefore things won't happen for you. It feels like there's a lack of hope, a lack of trust in yourself and in the universe. So Spirit's saying first you need to work on trusting yourself more. That will be very helpful. And then that will help you to trust Spirit more as well. So trusting both yourself more and Spirit more will allow for more peace to enter your life. It's not just about the stress we have, it's about how we handle stress. So Spirit is saying what you need to do for this month is focus on handling stress better. Focus on removing things from your life that are extra, that you don't need in your life, that add more stress to your life. Focus on the present moment instead of focusing too far down the line or the future. And don't focus about, I think some of you too act from a place of hurting other people before they can hurt you. So it's really a month of working on that. Of not, again, taking time to breathe, not just reacting with your words right away. Taking time to dissect information that is presented to you and finding ways to like, something that's popping into my mind is body tapping. If you look up EFT tapping, something like that helps me a lot. So doing something that can help you. A lot of y'all seem like you would hate to meditate, but like doing something where you can quiet your mind. Part of the reason you hate it is because it is hard. It's not easy for people. Like, it would be weird if somebody started meditating and they're just so good at meditating right away. You don't have to focus on being good at it, but a lot of you need to work on clearing your mind. Because I just think it's hard for you to have a clear line of thinking because there's just so much chatter going on. So for this month, focus on eliminating that chatter. Focus on just day-to-day stuff. Don't do anything in excess. Focus on relaxing as much as you can, taking breathers, taking spa days. Ultimately, though, focusing on healing yourself in some way, and that will really get you prepared for the upcoming year. So let's go into the guidebook. And this is the first card in the guidebook. It is alignment. And it says it's coming together precision. From Stonehenge in England to Newgrange in Ireland, and from the pyramids of Giza in Egypt to Chichen Itza in Mexico, across the world, you'll find temples, monuments, and stone circles built by ancient peoples in precise astronomical alignment with the sun and stars. The alignment card is a wonderful one to receive in your reading. It's a sign that things are really starting to sync for you, a physicalization of the flow that's coming into your life after a period of building. You see, that's the thing too. It's like if you've been working so hard at something, if you have a certain vision, Spirit is saying, like, we won't give you what you need until you really take time out to relax, give yourself a break. Anything you've been waiting on, if you're like, oh, I just keep working hard and this thing isn't happening, or this relationship isn't working out, or things aren't getting resolved, things will fall into place a lot more for the better if you give things, if you wait. A lot of you need to practice patience this month as well, but also you need to just have a lot more trust. Okay. It's likely you've been working toward this for some time, yes, or that you've recently made some decisions that have started to have a real impact. Whatever you've been focusing on, the cosmos is aligning in your favor and things are beginning to click into place. So give yourself breaks. That will allow the energy for these things to flow to you. Perhaps you've decided to focus on what really matters to you, making decisions from what feels congruent rather than the outside world, what they have told you to do. Perhaps you've made some significant changes in your physical life to bring it into harmony with how you've changed on the inside. Your ideas, dreams, and visions are coming together. Your time has come. Congruence and alignment are here. Make the most of this moment. Celebrate and claim your space. Precision and attention to detail have manifested into the physical. It's time to take a step back, see what you've created, and appreciate the transformation that's occurred. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, let the harvest be here. That's the thing, taking a step back. An ancient stone's activation, you can say this: I embrace all that I've created. I welcome flow, success, and ease. And this really makes me think, too, that a lot of you have already had quite a bit of success and abundance in your lives. You've just been so unaware, or even that you realize. But you're like, I don't give myself time to celebrate my successes. I just have to keep moving on to the next thing. I have to keep allowing this abundance to flourish and multiply. And Spirit is saying things are already going into alignment. You just have to open up your eyes enough to see, or you have to stop and take enough of a breath to really smell in the roses. Like, take in your surroundings. It's a time of taking in your surroundings and having realizations of how far you've already come instead of focusing on what else needs to be done. There's a sense that so much has already happened and you just haven't fully appreciated. So practicing gratitude would be important. I think I've talked about that in stack 2 as well. Okay, I'm going to go into the other part of this reading for people who are in a romantic relationship who would like to know about the energy going into this month. Other than that, if you do not want to listen to that, or you don't have a long-term or any sort of committed partnership, then I will end the reading here for you all. Thank you. Okay, so if you have a romantic partner, then here are your oracle cards represented. We have distance. You and your partner may be physically or emotionally distant, and this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Isn't that so crazy? Oh, that card, that's like, y'all are probably like, hmm? So, this doesn't technically This doesn't even technically have to be somebody you are already in a relationship with. I do have to say that I really get the vibe that it could be somebody who's outside of your romantic partner now. Oh, 333, my time. Everybody pause and make a wish, please. Okay, so for some of you, I did just have to say that though, about how it feels like it could be more of like a friend that you have that is actually like your quote unquote soulmate or somebody who you're meant to be with. Or is somebody who it says you've already met the romantic partner you seek. Maybe they have the qualities of somebody who you'd like to date. Maybe you already had a crush on them, you just never dated them, because friends. uh, but for some of you, this means that the person you are with right now could be the person who is in it for the long haul. Or at least for, yeah, quite a while. It feels like this relationship is good, but since distance is here, of course that could mean that you are for this month, you could be away from each other. Maybe you already have a long-term not long-term, I meant to say a physically distant relationship, and yeah, long distance relationship. But it could also just indicate that if you're going somewhere for the holidays or if you're just going somewhere else this month or your people are having to travel for work, that could be why you don't see your partner as much, is because of that, traveling for work or traveling to see family or for any events, anything like that. Just or maybe you both are just very busy. And that also ties in with the emotionally distant part. That doesn't mean y'all don't have love and feelings for each other, but it could mean that there's some sort of distance there, physically in the real world realm or emotionally. Because also I feel like with you going through so much, it just feels like there's gonna be a lot that you have to consider and a lot you'll have to think through for this month. So it might be hard to connect on a romantic level with your partner. So that's something that if you are emotionally distant in some way, but you are able to realize that, if you have a lot going on, tell your partner, communicate with them and say, "Hey, I actually am not in the best mental space, so if it seems like I don't care about this relationship, I'm not putting in effort, it's not that I don't care, it's just that I have so much on my plate right now, so I really need to focus on my own energy and focus on healing myself right now. And if you would like to help me on that journey, that would be great. But I just might not be the most emotionally available right now." Saying something as simple as that. And hopefully, I see for many of you, your partner's being understanding of that, if that is the case. And yeah, this could be the one card is just indication that this is somebody who I think also your spirit guides and specifically your ancestors like you being with. They like you being with this person, at least for right now, whether it's forever or not. It seems like this is somebody who checks a lot of the boxes for like requirements, I guess you could say, that you have for the relation for any sort of romantic relationship. It feels like this person checks a lot of the boxes, and so part of this month for you in general is also about going with the flow and focusing on the now. So don't focus on if this is meant to be long term or not, because for right now it seems like this relationship is good. So spirit doesn't want you to focus too far down the line. They want you to focus on how you can nurture the relationship currently, as well as since this is a period of you having to nurture yourself, focus on or look at how your partner treats you during this time, how they're able to care for you when you really need more care and when you really need more love, more affection. Hi, Axel. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 3C, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That'll be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 3C, and take care. Hello, 4D, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The tarot cards pulled here are the Five of Swords in reverse, the Page of Wands in reverse, the Nine of Wands upright, the Five of Wands in reverse, the King of Pentacles in reverse, and the Hierophant in reverse. So we have only one card in the upright, and that's the Nine of Wands. And then we have three Wands cards in a row as well. For the Oracle card, I will read in the guidebook later for that, but it says Wisdom Keeper, a new perspective, study and learning. And then for the later part of this reading, I will get to romantic life. So if you are in a committed partnership with somebody, then you can listen to that part later on. But for now, let's just focus on this part of the reading. So, I do want to say the energy across all four stacks very collectively feels very similar in many ways. So if you feel drawn to any of the other stacks, that completely makes sense to me because there's a very similar like collective energy for everybody, which I think makes sense because it is the end of the year. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's very cool how the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands are mirroring each other because they have very similar meanings. But for you, I think with this stack, actually, I think you're somebody who typically is very anxious and maybe even very reserved. I see you being somebody who keeps to yourself and probably isn't very talkative of a person. You're probably a better listener than you are a talker. And I think a lot of you, the reason why you maybe are more introverted is because you are socially anxious or just because you're afraid of failure in some way, or both. But it feels like you don't like judgment from other people. For a lot of you, I think this stems from childhood where probably you were judged heavily or it was hard for you to make friends, maybe you even had to move around a lot. But it seems too like there's just something about you that maybe you already know, maybe you don't, that's just very different from the people around you. It could be something about your religious or spiritual faith, the color of your skin or your ethnicity. It could be about like if you come from a family that has a different kind of family dynamic, like say you come from a family that the two parents are both women or men. There's just something about your upbringing that has shaped who you are, and it's almost like you're kind of embarrassed by it. So, for this month, I think Spirit wants for you to really focus on the ways that other people's judgments have shaped you and think about the ways in which you're socially anxious or just think of the ways in which you're afraid of judgment from other people. You're afraid of other people pointing out your weaknesses, I think. A lot of you don't really show much of yourself. A lot of people, like if even your closest friends, people were to ask like, "Hey, what is this person like?" I feel like people wouldn't really know how to describe you. So I think you keep your cards close to your chest. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of cool things about you and even a lot of creative things about you, if that makes sense, that make you stand out. And maybe people know about these things, but you just don't talk about your life like that, maybe. You don't expose parts of yourself. And I think there's parts of yourself that you have not even fully explored yet. Page of Wands in reverse, and that's mirroring the King of Pentacles in reverse. Where I think there's parts of you that you know are true, or that you know that would interest you or that do already interest you, but it just feels like you don't go further than that for whatever reason. You're scared of rejection, a lot of you, and so I think that's also why a lot of you maybe have some sort of self-dislike or self-hatred tendencies as well, where you feel like what you do isn't good enough or it won't be recognized enough, and that could relate to childhood as well. Maybe you tried really hard at something and then people poo-pooed on it, or people just completely overlooked your thing, or your work, or your work ethic. So I think that's why a lot of you are afraid to expose parts of yourself, and also why a lot of you are afraid to dive into the parts of yourself. It reminds me of like when people are closeted. And so a lot of you maybe know that you are queer, but maybe you do not express that openly. Maybe people even know about it, but you just don't talk about it because you're afraid of people's judgments. So I think too, with this wisdom keeper saying a new perspective, I think the new perspective isn't just about you, but it's about other people. So I think if you embrace something like that, let's say if you are queer, if you embrace something like your queerness a lot more, I think people in your environment will be a lot more likely to like open up to you as well or to be more accepting of you. With these Five of Wands and Five of Swords cards, that's what it makes me think. So I think for this month, you should focus on being more vulnerable with others and exploring more parts of yourself as part of your solo journey, but also like expressing these parts of yourself to others. And if there's people who you have maybe been judgmental before, I get a sense that some people will be more open-minded or around this time or for this month. Also, for some of you, it could mean that you'll find people. I think a lot of you, I said before, struggle maybe with making friends or maintaining friends. So for this month, it could be a really good month for making friends or spending more time with friends and opening up to people more. But I see that you'll find people who are a lot more aligned with you for this month, or you'll connect more with the people who you've connected with in the past over things that other people in your community don't like. With the Hierophant reverse, it makes me think that I talked about how you're probably very different from many people in your environment. And so I really feel like you do things that are off the beaten path, that are not traditional. That can involve who you are as a person. It could also involve something like career, you know? Let me try to think, like career-wise, something that would be like that. Like you want to be an astronaut. Maybe people just don't believe in you. They're like, that isn't like a reliable thing. Just go and be a doctor or something, right? There's something about you and or your career that's very different. So I think that's part of what makes other people uncomfortable as well. So it's not just like you. I think part of the reason why you have some uncomfortability within yourself is because of how that has been modeled to you from other people in your environment. It feels like a lot of people stick to the same routines and do the same things. I wouldn't be surprised if you're very much from a small town or like outside of a big city in a suburb, where everybody kind of does the same thing. And it also gives the vibes of like maybe people in your family kind of do the same things as well. Like I hear about stories of people who are doctors or dentists and like they come from a family line of that and like it goes far back, stuff like that. It's like for some of you, I think this will be a month of realizing the ways in which you try to fit into the standards that your family has set for you and the goals that your family has set for you, and instead learning to forge your own path. I love actually that the Nine of Wands is the only card in the upright here because it stands out to say, like, despite any disadvantages you have in life or despite other people's judgments of you, you prevail. The Nine of Wands can be about people having these boundaries and walls up, but depending on how the card is placed, it can be about defying odds or like standing in the face of adversity. And I really see that for you. Despite all that you've been through in life, despite other people, what they think of you, despite, how much you've had to do alone, Spirit is saying you've done a really good job up to this point. So, Spirit for this month wants for you to recognize that and appreciate yourself and to thank yourself for all that you've done to get you to where you are right now. But what the Nine of Wands is also saying is that you still have a lot more you have to show the world. You have a lot more to offer to other people. And so Spirit is saying, like, if you're somebody who isn't around friends much or who doesn't have many friends, Spirit is saying to get out there and to make more friends, to do more socially. A lot of you, it really does feel like you need to do more socially for this month. I don't know why, but it just feels like a lot of you do have more of that hermit energy. And so a lot of you maybe the Nine of Wands reminds me of people who are stuck in their comfort zones. So a big message for you for this month is to do things where you push your own boundaries and you step outside your own comfort zone. I feel like there will be a lot of cool experiences that you get to have and witness for this month or even in future months from stepping outside your comfort zone. For some of you, that even includes going on dates. But for many of you, I feel like it has to do with like the friendship aspect. Let's say you are at a job and you're maybe okay acquaintances with people, but you've never taken the step to ask people to hang out. Granted, other people can do that too. Maybe people have even asked you to hang out, but you're always just like, no. And I think a lot of you prefer to probably be homebodies and like stay inside or like work on your own things and do your own things. It gives very much the vibe of like somebody who just like is home when they're on their days off and is like watching TV, doing errands and stuff. So it feels like there's kind of a lull, there's kind of like a boringness in your life right now. Spirit's like, you have the ability to step out and do more. Some of you, I think, really do like structure and routines, probably. So because of that, I think it can be hard for you to step outside of those structures and routines and to do more things. Like for me, I have OCD, right? And so for me, I like doing things very routine oriented and very structure oriented. So I feel you. It can be very hard to break these things. And if somebody like asks you to hang out, it can be hard. I think spirit, part of what they're trying to tell you with this Page of Wands in reverse is that, and with these Five of Wands and Five of Swords in reverse, now's the time to like nurture and heal relationships with people. Like if you just are scared of being around people, you're scared of judgment. Spirit is saying to work through that by actually engaging with people and being with people more, like exposure therapy in a way. And the Page of Wands in reverse is saying to kind of just do whatever you want for this month, to not hold yourself back, to not be caught up in structure and routine. Spirit wants you to explore and get out there more. And so I'm just saying to go with the flow. A lot of you, I think, struggle with impulsivity. It's not always the best thing to be extremely impulsive, right? Spirit isn't saying to be impulsive all the time. What they're saying, though, is that there is actionable spontaneity that you can take in your life that will actually be beneficial for you, especially for this month. So let's say all of a sudden somebody messages you and they're like, "Hey, do you want to hang out? I know you don't like hanging out super late." So let's say you go to bed at like 9:30-ish every night, and somebody texts you at 8 and they're like, "Hey, we're going out at 9 o'clock to the bar." Even if you're not much of a bar person, like this is just an example. There's a sense that you should do things that you wouldn't typically do because that will lead you to experiences and also lead you to making and forming new connections with people or developing stronger connections with people that you already know. And I just see that being beneficial to your growth. And I see you then realizing, oh yeah, I don't have to be such a structured person. Like I'm not a robot. I can do things like, you seem like a very disciplined person, but it's to a fault. A fault where you're just always like a certain way. And that also lets people know that they probably shouldn't ask you to do things as much because you're just so regimented. It's like, well, I know this person has their own things they like to do. So then I think when people keep asking you, if you keep saying like, oh, I have this thing that I have to do, even if it's not something you absolutely have to do, I think people have a hard time with that. So you will also have to be the one to, I think, initiate socialization for this month because other people I think have almost kind of given up on you. It's like, well, if they really want to hang out, they can let me know when they're not doing some. So part of it is other people asking you to do things for the month that you would typically say no to, or if it's at a time that you wouldn't typically do, or if it's with people you wouldn't typically be around just because you don't know them. And I feel like a lot of you like to be around only people you already feel safe with at this point in time. Spirit is saying to step out of your comfort zone. It's okay to make new friends. That doesn't mean you even have to abandon old friends, right? That just means like it's okay to form new connections. Even with people who you aren't lifelong friends with, even if it's just for a day or two. Making those connections in those moments will still be helpful for you because it's good for your mental health. It's really an important month for your mental health. And stepping outside of your comfort zone by not being alone the whole time. Now, some of y'all are like, probably gonna be like, oh, I have pets, I have to take care of my pets. Your pets will be fine. Like, find a pet sitter or just like, you don't have to be gone for that long. That's the thing, too. Spirit isn't saying you have to do the most. They're saying stepping outside your comfort zone can be as simple as like going and grabbing lunch with a friend, going to a park, even going to like an after work event, something that's related to your job. Like, bigger businesses typically do that where they have like employee appreciation months or like themed days of the month. I don't know. But like any work related events could be cool for you to go to as well instead of only just sticking to what you already do. It's a sense of needing to do more. And with the King of Pentacles in reverse, I think there will be a lot of uncomfortability still. A lot of you are already uncomfortable with the thought of doing certain things. So I think these experiences that you go through, these connections that you make, it will be uncomfortable. You'll be uncomfortable for this month. But through this uncomfortability, I see you really progressing and I just see you having more fun in the future if you're able to get through that uncomfortability now, where you are able to just have more fun and be more loose, not be so like rough around the edges, not be so regimented. I see you making connections with people that you never thought you would. I see you just not being a dud. is the best way I can describe it. Even if it feels uncomfortable at first, Spirit doesn't want for you to give up. And I think with the Page of Wands in reverse, I think a lot of you do give up on things quite easily. So for this month, Spirit is saying that they don't want for you to give up on things. And if things are hard, that doesn't mean to stop, okay? And don't be anxious of being around people. Don't be ups like, don't try to make excuses as well. I think a lot of you make excuses for why you are the way you are and why things are the way they are. Sometimes it's just as simple as, like, you're an anxious person, but if you just keep saying that, then how are you gonna be able to step outside of your comfort zone? Because with this sort of, like, facing your fears head on type of mentality, doing things outside of your comfort zone, what was I saying? What type of therapy? Where you confront things head on? Exposure therapy. That's a key thing for you. Doing exposure therapy in amounts that are comfortable enough for you. It's still like you'll feel uncomfortable probably, but doing things where you're uncomfortable, you'll realize it's probably going to help you grow. Now, if you're in a dangerous situation, don't be doing none of that. Get out of those situations. But things that feel uncomfortable over time won't feel as uncomfortable, and then you'll feel more comfortable. Therefore, you'll be somebody who is able to be open to more possibilities in life. That's the thing. I say for some of you too, you could be traveling for this month, and that could be very eye-opening for you, learning about different people and their cultures. So I would keep an open mind out for that. I think a lot of you could struggle even with, like, trying new foods. You're somebody who probably when you go to a restaurant, you eat the same things. It reminds me of Shane Todd from Smosh. He's like, "Oh yeah, the chicken fingers. I always get the chicken fingers from Chili's. That's, like, always what I get." But Spirit is saying don't be like that. You don't have to do the same things every time. And for a lot of you, I think it's because you think this is what keeps you safe, doing the same things day in and day out. Spirit is saying it keeps you safe to a fault, but then you're not going to have fun if you're not open to doing new things. Is it? And also, there's things outside of our control, so you can't be 100% safe 100% of the time. There's always going to be things that are happening to us and around us. So Spirit is saying it's okay to take risks. And in those risks, even if it feels uncomfortable at first, you will grow into this uncomfortability. That's a hard word to say, by the way, uncomfortability. But that really is an important word for y'all. It's like getting out of that will be so important and crucial for you for this month. And when we have Wisdom Keeper here with a new perspective, that shows me that pushing yourself to be outside your comfort zone, even if it's like where it says study and learning, maybe that means learning about something you've always wanted to learn about, but you've been scared to, or you just keep putting it off because you feel like there's other priorities you have. Spirit's like, now's the time to dive into any new hobbies you've wanted to try. It's now time to do that. Anything you've wanted to study or research, any project you've wanted to start, now is the time for you to do that. Now is the time for you to stop putting it off and to not be afraid of failure or to not be afraid of, like, because a lot of you, I think, like having schedules and routines for things. So Spirit is saying, don't worry about when you'll finish something or even how much time in a day you spend doing something. Just do the best that you can, and that's all you can do. Don't, like, you don't have to be so caught up in the what ifs. What if something bad happens? You don't have to be so caught up in the what if other people don't like this thing or what if this thing takes longer than expected. That's okay. Part of what the risks that you need to take and stepping outside your comfort zone is doing things that aren't so scheduled or planned. So do take risks. Do things that are kind of with kind of impulsive actions, as long as they're safe, right? And also with the Hierophant reverse, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to break norms. Don't be afraid to, like, let yourself shine as well. A lot of you like to hide yourself. Don't be afraid to shine in a way and let other people see you for who you really are, even if it's in a way that some people might dislike. That's okay. You don't live your life for other people. You live your life for you. But I'm going to go into the guidebook now. We have Wisdom Keeper, A New Perspective, Study and Learning. The oldest known whole rocks on Earth, found in Canada, date back around 4.3 billion years, a length of time that's impossible to comprehend. For comparison, the first humans emerged around 2 million years ago in Africa, a mere blink of an eye in the lifetime of our planet's most ancient stones. The stones are wisdom keepers, powerful teachers, healers, and guardians. They preserve, hold, and tell our stories. Infused with the wisdom of the cycles, our ancient stones show us the grace and gift of surrender. In their presence, we're invited to take a different perspective, to shift into humble unknowingness as we wonder, how many people like us have they seen come and go? How many civilizations have they stood witness to? The Wisdom Keeper card holds ancient knowledge and stories. Many of us have been severed from our ancestral wisdom teachings, but what if it's possible to reconnect with this wisdom through stones that hold the memories? This card invites us to reconnect with some form of study and learning. It may be in the traditional sense, or it could be something more mystical and direct. That's the thing. Some of you could also maybe think about going back to college too, which is definitely a risk. Or going to college if you've never gone. Soul inquiry. These are questions you can ask yourself. What are you fascinated by or in awe of? How are you being called to be a student of life? Yeah, there's a lot of lessons that I think you have let to learn just because you've been closed off in a way from allowing yourself to perceive these certain lessons, because it just feels like you've kept to yourself, and maybe it's scary to learn about the world, but Spirit is saying that that's important for your soul's evolution and growth, and that you'll find a lot of not only wisdom, but a lot of happiness within that and intrigue, and it will lead you down this path of just discovery of external as well as self-discovery within. I will leave that there, and I will go now into the romantic love life part of the reading for December 2025. If you do not have a romantic partner and you won't be listening to that part of the reading, then I will say thank you so much for watching and listening to the video. Okay, so if you have a long-term romantic partner and you are listening to this, your cards are Guardian, a lost loved one watches over you, and Deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. It's interesting because I think for some of you, the deception could be from this other person. I think for some of you, it actually definitely feels like it's more from you. And the Guardian is the watchful and loving, is the loved one watching over you, saying, hey, you just gotta be yourself. Because I feel like a lot of you haven't really fully been yourself. So I will say that a lot of you, it feels like the deception does relate to you. And so Spirit is saying that in this relationship, maybe it will work out, maybe it won't. What you have to focus on more is letting your guard down and also showing yourself. You know, when people get into relationships, there's Steph Anya on YouTube. She reacts to Love is Blind, and also does other stuff as well and reacts to other media and provides useful content. But it reminds me of how she said it's weird to her how people get engaged like a year after knowing each other, even less. And in reference to Love is Blind, she's like, people don't really truly get to know somebody until like around 2 years plus. Like after 2 years, that's like on average how long she says it takes for people to like fully and authentically showcase themselves to their partner, like all these parts of themselves. And so it reminds me of that, where I think a lot of you, there's a lot of parts of yourself that you don't even realize because you're scared to tap into those parts of yourself. But there's also the sense that you're, again, not only scared of the internal, but the external, where you're scared of other people, how they will perceive you. So it feels like you aren't being truly yourself, and I think you're being who you think this person wants you to be, as well as you just aren't telling the full truth of like how you are, and that could just be indicative of how you feel about things. If you're just like, oh yeah, this is fine, a lot of you could be, I was gonna say this for the other part of the reading too, but a lot of you do feel like people pleasers, so you just kind of coast by, you just want to keep the peace. So Spirit is saying you don't have to, a guardian is watching, like you're watched over, the guardians are watching over you. You don't have to worry about being perceived a certain way, because if this person truly loves you, this reading, by the way, like this part for you, isn't indicating if this is a good relationship or a bad relationship, or if you should, like whatever. It's not saying any of that. What it's saying is that you won't fully know if this is a good relationship for you if you're not showing who you authentically are. So if you start showing more of who you are and being more emotionally vulnerable and stating your thoughts, or even when something is bothering you, if you're not willing to do that, then you won't know if this is an authentic relationship. It's already not if it's founded on that. So if you want it to be an authentic relationship, then you have to be able to open up more. And if this other person still values loves or appreciates you in the relationship, then you can continue on and you can just start being more yourself. And then it won't be like, well, there's nothing to worry about. And if this person doesn't accept you for who you are, for being all that you are, then you can be like, well, I guess this person isn't my person then, because you should want somebody who fully accepts you for who you are. And so if people, there are parts of yourself that you've been hiding away and you start showing those parts, and somebody's like, "Ooh, I don't like that," or "Ooh, that's like really cringy," and like, "Ew, I got the ick." And if they like are being so serious about that, then really evaluate, is this somebody who actually likes me? Because this is a big part of who I am that, or just any part of who I am that I've hidden away. And then for some of you, I think that would validate you. Like, see, this is why I hid it away. But Spirit doesn't want you to say that. They want you to say, we're watching over you. We're making sure you're safe and protected right now. You're like almost in a way self-sabotaging by getting into relationships with people who don't even actually truly care for you in the way that they should. There's a sense that, yeah, just the people in your life, Spirit is saying like a romantic partner should be somebody who loves and values and cherishes you for all parts of you. And if there's parts that they don't like, then they won't be judgmental about it, right? They won't be really mean about it. So if you're in relationships, this is your friendships as well, but if you're in a romantic relationship where that ends up being the case, then you should evaluate if you should be with that person. And if they do still like you and if they like you even more, then that's great. And that just goes to show you should be with somebody who does appreciate you. You shouldn't be putting on a front of who you think the world wants to be. And because, oh, wait, what? Of who the world wants you to be. You shouldn't be a certain person because you think that's keeping you safe, because it's not. It just keeps you guarded and less happy. So be it yourself. Alright, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 4D, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack at all, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 4D, and take care.